Hello, everyone. Welcome to Professor Zayed's YouTube videos. I'm recording this lecture for my class, Information Security, and this PowerPoint is from the covers the textbook Principles of Information Security, and this is chapter number 2. And the title of the chapter is the need for information security. We're going to talk about why we need information security. So if you remember the chapter 1 of this book, it's called Introduction to Information Security. But chapter 2, we're going to talk about the need for information security. Um, so I'm going to record multiple parts for this chapter. This is part 1. And the module objectives here is by the end of the module, you should be able to discuss the need for information security. You should be able to explain why successful information security program is the shared responsibility for the entire organization. And you should also be able to list and describe the threats posed by to information security and common attacks associated with those threats. And also, we will be able to list the common information security issues that result from poor software development efforts. So, the primary mission of information security program is to ensure that information assets, information, and systems that house them remain safe and useful. If there is no existing threats, resources could be used exclusively to improve systems that contain, use, and transmit information. And the threat of attacks on information systems is a constant concern for organizations. Um, so the information security performs four important functions for an organization. One is that protects the organization's ability to function, right, without able to protect that data and making sure the data is not leaked or compromised. And it also protects the data and information the organization collects and uses, especially information about users and customers and so on. And also, it enables safe operation of applications running on organization's IT systems, and it also safeguards the organization's technology assets as well. So when it comes to business needs, the business needs come first. When security needs and business needs collide, the business wins. So as many of you know, that the main goal of information security is to basically make sure the business and the goals of the business are the top priority. Without the underlying business to generate revenue and use the information may lose value, and also there would be no need for it. So if a company loses their data, basically there is no business, right? But if a company loses their site, for example, like a building or assets outside of the data that should, if the data exists, they can rebuild the business. If the business cannot function, information security becomes less important. And also, the key is to balance the needs of the organization with the needs to protect the information assets, realizing that business needs comes first. So protecting functionality, management, general and IT is responsible for facilitating security programs, and then also implementing information security has more to do with management than technology. Should keep that in mind. And also, communities of interest should address the information security in terms of business impact and the cost of business interruption. Protecting data that organizations collect and use is important. Without data, an organization loses its records and of transactions and ability to deliver value to the customers. And protecting data in transmission and processing and at rest storage is also critical aspect of information security, meaning that you have data stored in hard drives, and these are called data in storage or data at rest, or data being transmitted through a website, like doing purchasing and things like that. It's very important. Today's organizations are under immense pressure to create and operate integrated, efficient, and capable applications. The modern organization needs to create an environment that safeguards applications using the organization's IT systems, particularly the environment of the organization's infrastructure. So basically, once the infrastructure is in place, management must understand that it has not abdicated to the IT department its responsibility to make choices and also enforce decisions, but also must continue to oversee the infrastructure as well. So, safeguarding technology assets in organizations. Organizations must employ secure infrastructure, hardware appropriate to the size and scope of the enterprise. And then additional security services may be needed as the organization grows. There's also you need more robust solutions should be in place for security program to replace security programs that the organization has outgrown, right? So if you work in cybersecurity, you will always find that you will need to upgrade or add more solutions, encryption, antivirus, and some solutions, some tools that might not be efficient for the number of users or devices. So IT continues to add new capabilities and methods that allow organizations to solve business information management challenges. Now, information security threats and attacks. A threat is basically a potential risk to an asset's loss of value. Um, and uh, Attack is basically an intentional or unintentional act that can damage or otherwise compromise information and the systems that support it. An exploit is a technique used to compromise a system, and then vulnerability is a potential weakness in an asset or its defense control systems. So management must be informed about the various threats to our organizations, people, applications, data, and information systems. So the overall security is improving, but the number of potential hackers is growing, right? Now here, this is just a review of what we talked about. Now, talking about the internet usage, it's important to understand like the number of internet users is increasing. So does attacks as well or vulnerabilities. And so you can see here the population. This is from 2020. The estimation of the population of talk about Africa, for example, the population and the percentage of the percent of the world, 17%. The internet users in Africa is about 42%. And you can see here a list of continents where the population percent of the world, and then the internet users. You can see like North America, for example, here has a large number of internet users, and Asia as well. You can see that these are two highest numbers. And this slide, it talks about the threats from internal sources. This was a survey was done in 2015, over 10 years ago, and a survey of threats, information protection. And you can see from employees or internal stakeholders, inability or unwillingness to follow established policy. 6% of those internal employees think it's not a threat, but you can see 16% think it's a severe threat. And then you can see that disclosure due to insufficient training, not a threat. 8% think it's not a threat, and then 13% think it's a severe threat. So these are some of the threats and then survey of users. You talk about unauthorized access or escalation of privilege, unauthorized information, collection, data sniffing, theft of on-site organizational information assets, and then also theft of mobile, laptop, tablets, or and related connected information assets. So this is again, this is a like a over 10 years old survey. But it's still included in this textbook, just for you to look at. Um, all right, so basically, we're just gonna move. We're just gonna go through this survey. It just has a lot of information. For example, here, talk about general threats to information assets, loss of trust due to representation as source of phishing or spoofing attacks. You can see the like one is not a threat, and then number five is a severe threat. So you just look at the survey and then see what people think. I'm not sure if you do this the same survey today, it will be closer number or higher number. But again, it's be interesting to look at something similar that was done recently. All right. So again, so now common attack pattern enumeration and classification. It's a tool that security professionals can use to understand attacks in a common attack pattern enumeration and classification. And it's a website hosted by MITRE. It's a nonprofit research and development organization sponsored by the US government. This online repository can be searched for characteristics of a particular attack or simply browsed by professionals who want additional knowledge of how attacks occur procedurally. All right, so this is part one of this lecture. Gonna stop here and then we're going to continue in a moment. We're going to go to part number two.